I can do this. We can do this. One good picture. Maybe I'll just take a still. Ha, cheese.
It could change the world.
On we go.
I give up trying to make this thumbnail. Everything just keeps falling over. I give up. Hello, welcome to an unhaul. I haven't done an unhaul video in like 2 years. However, I have unhauled stuff since then, I promise. However, I've come to the realization that it is time to once again clean house because I don't want to look at things on my shelf that don't feel like 4 to 5 star energy. I also need to make space because I've recently reorganized my bookshelves. So if you can see, I'm going to tilt the camera up so you can see that top shelf. This is all unread books and there's about 40 something books up there. And I need space as I finish my, camera's better. I need space as I finish those to move them down, but I don't have a lot of space here. I am planning on getting another bookshelf just to put my manga on because my bottom shelf is currently manga. And I have a whole section right here where I could fit another bookshelf. But I'm working on it. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna clean house. I have a bunch of books that I plan on getting rid of, and I always bring my used books to free little libraries to share the love of reading around my neighborhood. But before I do that, I'm gonna tell you what I'm getting rid of. Some of these you may be like, Steph, why are you getting rid of that? If I get rid of something that is one of your favorite books, please don't take it personally. I'll tell you why I'm getting rid of it. Not that I didn't enjoy all of these books. Some of them I did. I'm not gonna reread them. And if I wanna talk about them in a video, I'll just pop up a picture or something. Alas, here we go. First book should not be a shocker to anyone because it was a recent read for the Interstellar Book Club, which is the sci-fi book club that I run. Even though I didn't hate it, I also didn't love it, and that's fine. Last Exit by Max Gladstone. I started this book and then switched over to audio because physically reading it with my eyeballs wasn't working. The words just would not fall into my eye holes, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. I give it a 3 star. Like I said, it's not bad, but it wasn't a new favorite, and that's fine. I want to pass this along and hopefully someone can enjoy this more than I did. I did an entire vlog, like 20-minute review for this, which I'll leave linked up above. It was a horror reading vlog. This is a horror sci-fi. If you're interested in reading this, think multiple world traveling dystopian horror, finding one's queer identity and self, band of friends coming back together, math and fantasy, which is fun, right? So like I said, not bad, just not my cup of tea. It's moving on. We Have Always Been Here by Lena Nguyen. This, again, wasn't bad. It just wasn't a favorite. I wanted to love this. Sci-fi, again, read it for the Sci-Fi Book Club last year, I think. Is it autistic rep? There's some kind of disability rep in here, and that has a lot to do with the plot line. So I think the ending itself was really interesting. There's a lot of robotics going on, ethics around AI, how AI and robots and people with disabilities are kind of assimilated into the modern workforce and what that does as far as like what the expectations and regulations around giving them certain rights and accessibility in the workplace. That part was like really interesting, but it was just the pacing for this. It was kind of depressing. And the font was like teeny tiny. Look at, okay, that's like a transcription. Hold on. Teeny tiny font all the way through. Even though part of me wants to reread this just to like be able to give a more in-depth review about it, the slog that it was for me and the really slow pacing to eventually like the climax happening, I think like the last, what is this, like something like 50 pages of the book. Just way too slow paced, and I don't want to put myself through that again. And I think the pacing is the justification for most of the books in this video, to be honest. Speaking of pacing, this one might be a hot take. There's a third book around here somewhere, but I can't find it, and when I find it, I'm gonna unhaul it along with these two. This is Alloy of Law and Bands of Mourning. The sequels to my favorite trilogy, or one of my favorite trilogies ever, which is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I adore that trilogy, like the Mistborn original trilogy, so much. But the sequels didn't do it for me. And it's really hard for me to say why. I didn't attach to any of the characters. Something about the time jump just wasn't it. And it's weird because it's like, I do love my like Western movies. I love a spaghetti Western. This is set in the West, and it makes sense that it's in the West because metal is really important, and the metal and the guns and things like that has to do with the magic that runs the system. Metal and Mistborn is really important as a source of magical power. And like, this should have been 5 stars for me, but it wasn't. In my mind, I think Hero of Ages is like the end of Mistborn for me, and or maybe even The Secret History, and I just can't read past that. I don't know. Maybe one day I will try this again, but right now, I'd rather give this to someone else who can have a fun time with it. And I'll just listen to the audiobook if I ever want to do that. I'll just get the audiobook off script. It's fine. I don't need these on my shelf. Keeping in line with series that I no longer am interested in, Gwendy's Button Box and Gwendy's Magic Feather, written by Stephen King and Richard Chismar, did not hit the way that I wanted it to. There is a third one in here. I can't remember the title, but the whole reason that I picked this up is, one, because I am a Stephen King fan. I'm a fan of his older stuff, not his newer stuff. Plus, Stephen King books is really what got me into reading. But these books have ties to The Dark Tower, which is like my all-time favorite fantasy series. But they just weren't good. These weren't good. These were boring. The main character was insufferable. She was just so annoying. Overly political for no reason. Like, it was like in the first book when she's a child, she's just like this really annoying, privileged kid. And I feel like that was done on purpose because she makes bad decisions, and that's kind of the point of this one. And the second one, she's an adult, and she's like written so democratically that it's like, why are you overcompensating? Why are you doing this? Because those decisions didn't feel like motivating factors for what happened in this book. So why did we even go there? I don't even think that someone's political affiliations needed to be a part of this to make characters just do horrible things. Like, it's a horror. That's what people do in horror. They make horrible decisions. But whatever. It's there. It's a thing. I'm not going to reread this. I have no interest. I didn't like it. I think, what did I give this? I'm going to double check. I might have given it a 2? A 3 at most? I don't know. A thriller horror, Near the Bone. This one I think I gave a 4-star. It wasn't bad at all. I actually think I really enjoyed this. What I remember of it, though, I'm not sure if I did a reading vlog for this, was that I wanted more. It was a mysterious monster living in the forest, a female protagonist who's in this horrific situation, and I remember the ending very vividly in my mind because it was very chilling and cool, but there's nothing in here that I think is going to make me reread this again. Even though I read this, gotta be a year and a half ago, I still can visualize different scenes very clearly. And it's not necessarily a mystery, and there's not something that's necessarily solved. I think because there's certain aspects about the monster that I wanted more of. It didn't hit right for me to become a 5-star, which probably means I'm not going to read it again. If I need to remember anything from this book to talk about, I'll just watch my own review. On the topic of hitting hard, An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. This one was really good. However, I don't think I gave this a 5-star. It might have been a 4-star. It was really good. But the reason I don't see myself rereading this again, and if I want to pick it up again for some reason, I'll probably just get it from the library, is that it hurts my heart to think about this book. It was just really hard because it's almost like a 1-for-1 allegory for slavery. It's very much in your face. It's slavery on a ship in space. Like, man, the things that happen in here. Also, you know what's the real reason? Let me stop sugarcoating and like beating around the bush. The real reason is that there's a lot of triggering things in here. For me, one of my major triggers is harm to women, misogyny, and like just atrocities against women. And this book is about horrible things being done to the women. I just like the author does a very good job of kind of recreating the structures of oppression in the sci-fi setting and thinking about the plight of Black women during slavery, but it hits so hard I don't want to trigger myself again. It's like too much. So I highly recommend this book. However, for me, I know I'm not going to be picking it up anytime soon because with how hard this book slapped me emotionally, it's still fresh. The bun just got out of the oven of my mind, and I don't need it. I've still got bread to chew on. I don't need more. I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. Why is this book still here? I thought I unhauled you. I've talked about this book a lot. Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. I gave it a 2-star. And this is one of those complicated books where I think it did exactly what it set out to do, which very similarly to this one was describing in detail the atrocities of westward expansion. Horrible illustrations of slavery, horrible illustrations of destruction of native lands and peoples. Hit me way too hard. I think I have scenes from this that live rent-free in my mind, and I wish that they didn't. I really do, because they were so triggering. Like, this book hit every single one of my triggers. All of them. So because of that, this book really does deserve probably more than the 2-star that I gave it, because it did its job. It was like, this is a really fucked up side of history that no one kind of talks about, that they don't teach you in school. So here's a book about it. And you're not going to forget that these horrible things happen to people. And guess what? I definitely don't. Because I think about this book all the time. You know, if you know someone who is in denial about what America was built on, send them this. You know what? I can probably think of a couple people that I just might send this in the mail to. But I don't need it. I don't need to reread it. I'm good. I just have no interest in this. I've read other Ken Follett books. I should probably do a reread, because I read, what's it called again? World Without End and something else. What was it called? Oh, The Pillars of the Earth. That's actually considered like an American classic, I think. I don't even know. Some kind of classic. I read those trunkers when I was a teenager, in very formative years, and I think it's worth a reread now that I have built a foundation for my own morals, that I go back and think, should I have been reading this at 14? Probably not. But I have no interest in this. Maybe that's a video idea. Rereading books that I loved as a teenager that I shouldn't have been reading as a teenager. Could be a video. It's book 1 in a trilogy that I have no interest in reading, so sorry, Ken, not happening. Red Dragon, part of Hannibal Lecter's series. I'll just rewatch all the movies. I don't need to reread this. I adore the movies. Movies are a great time. I love horror, but this is not going to be it for me. A memoir, which I will say, since having read this, even though I adored it, I really did look at all these wonderful tabs and thoughts that I had. I think I also did a reading vlog for this a long time ago on my channel. This was a fantastic memoir. I've really gotten into memoirs as audiobooks, so I don't physically read memoirs anymore, meaning that if I want to pick this up again, I'll just make it an audiobook and make my life easy so I can listen to it on the way to work, which is what I've been doing lately. Not with this, another memoir. I'm never going to reread this. The Last Days of Socrates by Plato. I'm not. No explanation needed. I don't even know what this book is about. I got it at a free little library. It's Radio Freefall by Matthew Harp, not sure. I don't think it's an arc. What does it feel like it looks like? I don't know. The artwork on it's really pretty, and it's a sci-fi, which made me want to pick it up, but very honestly, unless someone in these comments of this video says, Steph, read this, chances are I'm not going to, so goodbye. Now, you may be asking yourself, Steph, are you getting rid of Dune? You dislike Dune. Dune is easily one of my least favorite books of all time. Very sorry if it's your favorite. That's okay. This is my channel. However, I picked up Dune thinking I'm going to unhaul it. And then I opened up to some of my tabs, and I just really was cracking up at the doodles that I did in here. So if it's also become a very hot topic of conversation with me and my friends as of late as to me being like the anti-Dune person, which is fine. Dune is like super old and it has a huge cult following. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's suddenly going to be the end of the world and that people are going to like stop supporting Dune. It's got a bunch of movies, which man, I got things to say about the movies, but that's its own video. Not that anything that I'm saying here is going to be some sort of revelation for Dune. But I just really thought that I had some like silly doodles that I was doing in here and I was just cracking myself up. So if I ever need to come back with more receipts to other people when having a discussion about why I hated Dune, I can just pull it out of here. So you know what? If it's going to be helpful, might as well keep it. Alright, those are all the books in this video. I will do a recording when I go out and hand these out to the world in the free little libraries in my neighborhood. I also insert cards and like YouTube information if anyone wants to see the vlogs that I did based on the books that I unhaul. And I have a feeling there's a couple more books that I'm gonna unhaul. I just don't know where they are. So there's that. I do have a haul video coming up in the near future. That's exciting, just waiting for some stuff to come in the mail. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. My name's Steph. I post videos whenever I feel like it. I'll see you later. Bye!
On we go.
What's it making, Mr. Wonka? Mr. Wonka work the